It's engagement farming, and what people are looking for is a lot of these accounts, when they see something does well on one account, and they'll go, wow, that's just built up a lot of interactions, they'll just copy it. Whether it's true, whether they've checked it, whether it's whatever, they'll just copy it and use it again. Right, Geordie Journos back at the Brandling, back as a 3, as we like it. Some people don't, but we like it. We like being a 3. Yeah. Right, it's the weekend edition. Been a while since we've done like a proper Saturday show. The Saturday show.
It became a thing in the summer, didn't it?
Yeah, some people don't like that either. Right, so now I thought we'd do a little bit of a look over what's gone so far, a little bit of chat about what's to come ahead. But we'll split this show kind of into 2 parts. First part, the season review so far, highlights, lowlights, trends, what we see happening moving forward. And in the second half, we're going to actually just dip in a little bit further on that topic. And we're going to have a best in class, worst in class. All 3 of us here are going to pick Newcastle United's best in class so far this season and worst in class. So prior to that, if you do want to jump in the comments and let us know your worst in class, best in class ahead of that second half, that'll be really good. And we'll obviously respond to everybody that we possibly can, as we always do and we always have. In how long have we been together now? Not just as mates, I mean like
2 years, this channel I think.
Two and a bit since the Champions League season.
Yeah,
that's when we started it.
It's been some journey.
July.
Should we do a review of that?
July 2023. Yeah, our first video.
Whenever I thought this would happen, did we?
No.
Never thought we'd be stood in the Brandon arms.
No, I know we're relatively small. Let's be brutally honest about it, but we've really enjoyed doing this, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a great journey. Just doing my job, but also kind of having it's very much a one-way conversation most of the time on here, but we'll try and bring back some live chat, so there's a little bit of accountability at some point in the future. We might have some little bit of news on that, not today, but in a few shows' time maybe.
Okay.
Right, Jordan, I'll come to you first. Thoughts so far this season, because I think it's fair, if I'm going to slightly frame the question for you, it has felt underwhelming in some ways, hasn't it, so far this season?
Yeah, it has. But the caveat of all that is, for the first 3 games, Newcastle were essentially playing with centre forward, which I think put them on the back burner a little bit. But yeah, I think the season as a whole has been okay. You look at the 2 defeats that they've had, late defeats to probably 2 of the title challengers. So if you put it in that sort of respect, it's the results, the way they fell, have they fell the way you'd expected? Perhaps, I just think maybe in those games Newcastle haven't looked like scoring many goals. But I think prior to the international break, the 2 wins last week sort of propelled them back to where they sort of should be. And we're seeing players improve the team, which we'll come on to later. But I think it's been an okay start. I just hope they can take the confidence from the last 2 wins and push on, because if they can push on, we're talking to start the season, you have to push on after the international break. This will be sort of a distant memory, if you like, if they can say win some games and get themselves up the table.
I was hoping to maybe say something different, Tom, but I kind of quite sort of summarised the season quite well. So what I would say to you is what represents success this season? Because is it just almost staying on an even keel as to what they did last season, or did they have to progress beyond that? Because there has been mitigating circumstances.
Yeah, it's hard. I think Jordan summed up the start of the season quite well, where it just feels like Newcastle are almost there. They're getting close. They're showing potential of potentially clicking and being a good side. We just haven't quite seen that. I thought Forest's second half it probably clicked, and then in the Champions League game against Union St Gilloise also clicked, but level of opposition you have to take into account. You've got to be encouraged by some of the performances from certain players, which we'll get onto in the second half of the video. But yeah, success, it's hard after last season where it was unprecedented success, qualifying for the Champions League and winning a cup. If you can win a cup again, by default that's success regardless of where you finish in the league, as long as you don't go down, in my opinion. I think Newcastle need to at least get some form of European football. I think Champions League could be a push again, back-to-back Champions League seasons. It would be the ideal situation.
It's going to be 5th again.
Most likely, in it. So I think that 5th place is up for grabs, but realistically, if Newcastle are getting Europa League, getting out of the Champions League group into the knockout stages, and hopefully to the latter stages of the domestic cup competitions, perhaps winning one, but even if they just got to the latter stages, I'd consider that more or less a success, because it's almost showing signs of progress. Because as much as Champions League qualification's great, we were speaking off camera, it's been an on-off sort of Champions League, out of Europe completely, Champions League. This has to be almost a maintaining of Newcastle's steady progress, get European football again, whether it's Champions League or not, get some form of European football.
I think they've built a squad that means being outside of Europe makes that squad largely redundant.
Yeah.
I think they've put enough numbers in that now that if you then dropped out, you would literally have 3, 4, 5 players who'd be saying, wow, why am I not playing?
Yeah.
Whereas with the European, there has to be a level of rotation. So I think I agree with you on that one. I think it has to be European football. And we don't know how far that'll go. Champions League is going to be 5 again this year. I think I've said that before and it didn't end up being, didn't I?
Yeah, you went very hard.
I did,
you told me I was wrong for suggesting.
Right, well, I'm right this time.
So
it is going to be.
Are you banking on Newcastle not letting down the Premier League this time?
I think they've possibly already done enough to not.
I think the change in format really benefits the Premier League, because every Premier League team is going to get enough wins,
get a couple at least
in the group phase to increase their coefficient.
I wonder if the coefficient's fair in that regard, because if it almost gives England a head start by getting 5 Champions League teams in.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose then you're almost constantly rewarding success, though, aren't you? It's hard.
It is an average, though.
Yes.
So if a team absolutely flops in the Champions League, as Newcastle and Manchester United did 2 years ago, flop maybe a bit harsh, but they finished bottom of the group with 1 win apiece, then their coefficient was taken into account, and then England didn't end up getting extra place.
But it looks like, I don't know, you're a bit of a coefficient man.
It means very little these days.
It dropped this year. England's coefficient did drop.
Did it?
I thought Newcastle at the start, this is kind of a bit technical, I thought Newcastle at the start of the Champions League campaign, when they were put into the draw, had a coefficient of 21. Now if you look at the UEFA website, they've got a coefficient of 19.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Because,
does it?
Yes, because it's taken this season's coefficients into
dropped
account,
off.
and everyone has very low coefficients.
And then it'll go up.
Yes, it'll go up over the course of the season.
He's the man asked.
You were just testing him, weren't you? You knew that?
No, it's good. No, I didn't make
No, you did.
Because obviously the maximum amount of wins a team could have got is 2. So Man City, for example, I'm saying Man City, a team who's won 2 games will only have a coefficient of, what will it be, 10 this season, which is low.
I thought it was 2 for a win. Is it 5?
No, it's 2 for a win.
Yeah.
But you get 6 as default for being in the Champions League, which you don't get in the Europa League or the Conference League.
See, I love talking to you, Dom, about these things.
It's very boring, really.
It is, but I love it. So I could not work out how Newcastle had 8 already this season.
6 for being in, 2 for the win.
2 for the win. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Which is the same as what they got in the last time in the Champions League, because back in the group stage, then you only got 4 for being in it.
Yeah.
Then they got 2 for the win, and then 1 each for the draw.
Sorry, there's a fly land on my leg there, wasn't there?
So proper nerds use
I love it.
Proper nerds.
Stat nerd, innit? Coefficient
nerd.
It means nothing these days, though. They could be in pot 1, they'd still get the similar amount of.
Yeah, it's nice to be a bit higher, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need to get a couple more wins under their belt to break through that at least 21.
West Ham still have a 68 coefficient.
Yeah,
it's mad.
Incredible. European heritage.
So if they qualified for the Champions League again, going on tangent here, what pot would West Ham be in?
Maybe pot 2.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they wouldn't pot 2 in the Champions League.
That's what European
Newcastle, even if they have a good Champions League this time, might struggle to still get out of pot 4. Like their coefficient is so low. But now you've re-explained that, and the more I think about it, I think they possibly could get out of pot 4 and be a pot 3 team. And pot 3 team for the time on the return after a year.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility they get 5th with it being 5 places. I do think
something needs to click.
I do think the other 4 who were in this time will all get in, and I think Newcastle will be if Newcastle do well, they're going to be fighting up with Tottenham, I think.
Yeah.
I think Tottenham look like the team to me, although they can be hit and miss, which is why I'm not going to say they're definites. Tottenham at the minute look like the team. And that's almost ruling out your likes of Bournemouth and others who don't need ruling out because of Crystal Palace, etc., who've had fantastic starts to the season. But I do, history tells you we've seen this story's played out many a time before where teams get off the flyers and it just doesn't quite work out over a season. I think Crystal Palace will just start to get to grips with having to struggle through that competition that they're already in, the European, which they haven't had. They've only had one game really. And although it's the lowest of all the competitions and they'll fancy themselves, they could get another bit of silverware, being brutally honest. I think,
good coefficient if they do.
Oh, they'll have a better one than Newcastle by the end of the season. I do think it's weighted. Tell me this, Dom. Come back to the coefficient. People might turn off, yeah. I think it's weighted. The Conference League doesn't count the same.
It's actually not.
Oh my God.
A win in the Conference League and a win in the Champions League counts the same. It's just you get a boost of a 6 coefficient for being in the Champions League.
You get a 2 or something for
You get nothing.
Oh, for the Conference League?
Yeah, but you get still 2 for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a defeat. But for being in the Champions League group phase, you get 6 as a default.
What about the Europa?
Nothing.
Oh, really?
So sometimes it's better to be in the Conference League.
Nah, I was going to say the Conference League, you'll make that up 6 in 3 games, won't you? Anyway, my thoughts on the season so far. I think if you'd asked me this question a week ago, even the positivity after the week, I would have been almost like disappointed, feeling like they hadn't really hit their full potential. However, I've probably gone a different 7 days later. The more I think and look at it, I'm actually seeing it as a glass half full type sort of season so far, rather than half empty. Where I would have been half empty 2 weeks ago. I do think the not hitting their full potential is a positive. I think there is more to go in this team. I don't know how much more, but the more that Nick Voltemada is playing, I do think the team has a focal point, and it's made a huge difference. I'm not going to dwell too much on individual performances, but I think that was really, as you mentioned, the first 3 games, there was nothing, not a thing. And now I don't criticise Anthony Gordon for that. Anthony Gordon put a right graft in, but he isn't a striker. Yeah. And then he stupidly got himself sent off, which he's got in his locker. But I think they look like a team that's learning to play more. I think there's been a lot of focus from people on the striker and saying, this team is going to have to learn a totally new way of playing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he's a different footballer, but the team is not going to change everything that it does just for one player. And I think we're already noticing that. They don't really do a lot different to what they did before. He's just slightly different.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, well, you're probably right in that respect, but it's sort of learning because he drops deep quite often.
So did Isak though. I don't get where this. The only thing he doesn't do, which Isak did do, was play on the shoulder. Yeah. But Isak did all of this link-up stuff, just not as well.
Yeah.
He does it better and brings the wide players in better than Isak ever did.
He works much harder.
He works much harder.
No doubt about it.
Voltemada is better outside the box. Isak probably better
definitely
inside, based on the small sample size.
We're yet to see it really. Actually, that's the thing, and that's why there's a lot of positives. I look at it, and you mentioned it. The 2 games that they've lost are really disappointing, but they're disappointing for the reason that that's who you want Newcastle to be competing with. In a normal season, if you just look at it on paper, it's actually, the results have not been bad. I think the manner in which they've got the results probably hasn't helped them as well. I think Bournemouth really tainted and coloured people's view of the season massively. A lot of people looked at that and thought, what the hell are we doing here? Like, where a team just didn't even get the ball anywhere near the box. And just looked so totally defensive. I came out of that one probably not as negative as most people, because I saw the team at that point in its development had limitations. And almost all you've got to make sure is don't get beat. Bournemouth are a good side. They've continued to be a good side after. Score goals against everybody. Semenyo, one of the best form players in the division. Never got a sniff against Newcastle, and I thought that was a real positive. And that's why I don't like this sort of scorn when there's 5 at the back's talked about. I think 5 at the back's a great tool for Newcastle to have, and one they should consistently use this season. They can shut games out. It didn't do it against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people criticise that. You shouldn't have went to 5. That was defined by Tino Livramento getting injured. The only way that system failed, the back four and the midfield was really fatiguing. Arsenal was starting to get right on top again, and he had to change it. And his options, his strength on the bench was defenders, so he changed it, and it just didn't work because one of the key components, the only legs in that defence was.
The man who got injured.
And it meant that you had Dan Burn
come back out a left wing back.
Not only as a left back, but Christ, a left wing back. So it became a very deep 5, and that's where the pressure came and became a problem. It wasn't the change. That's why you need to look a little bit deeper, and that's what we try to do on here. Look a little bit deeper than. I didn't want to play 5 again because it was like a surrender against Arsenal. But actually, no, there were mitigating factors in that game as to why they went to a 5, but then it became a very defensive 5, and it wasn't the same sort of 5 with a threat, which can, in a normal situation, you have your fullbacks who can get forward, Murphy on one side, who he normally plays there, and then you have Livramento or Hall on the other side. It can work. The 5, I like the 5. I think they've got good centre halves, and I think they can shut any team down with that 5, and I think it's got a good tool, particularly going away from home and particularly in the Champions League. So I see more glass half full. I don't look at it in a massive negative light, but I can see why people do. But I do think the last week has probably tainted things again the opposite way for everybody. I think 6 goals, like you say, the opposition mattered, but 6 goals, it was quite a bit of a walkover in Belgium, and it was nice. I thought it was really nice of UEFA actually. It was lovely of them to put Newcastle against what felt like a non-league team in the Champions League. And that kind of, sorry Dom, I know you want to say something now.
No.
But I thought we had to mention something that we did this week.
I was about to come on that, So the Geordie Journals have been on a north-east tour. Not a tour. We've been at one destination.
Went a bit north.
Yeah, we went far north. In terms of English Premier anyway, but we were Blyth Spartans this week.
We were,
we got put up in hospitality for their game against Heaton Stanington on Tuesday, was it now?
What a game.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
7-goal thriller.
Brilliant. Great result for the stand, but Blyth put up a hell of a fight.
Did you?
Yeah, thought well.
Your Heaton heritage.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, but even at the end, you were like, "This is football."
Yeah, I said I was walking up. I said I want football to be the winner,
and it was.
It most certainly was at the end.
It wasn't the winner from a Blyth perspective.
No.
No, it was. Heaton Stan went 4-0 up. Blyth were down to 10 men. Heaton Stan went down to 10 men. A bit of defensive organisation at the back for Heaton Stan.
Yeah, they put a centre forward.
Left back, put him left back, and then Blyth piled on the pressure. Got it back to 4-3. Hit the crossbar for 4-4.
4-4, and then added time, wasn't it? Crossbar.
So that was a really entertaining game. A lovely afternoon at Croft Park. Evening at Croft Park. I love going there. Spent a lot of years there. In the hospitality lounge for the first time, enjoying a few beers and a pie and chives pie. And chips. So they are pushing to get people up to Blyth, aren't they? Yes.
Up to Croft Park. So I'm sure you can put something on here now.
Yeah. So the hospitality prices vary, but if you get in touch with the email is generalmanager@blythspartans.com if you're interested in any hospitality, then email that email.
And I couldn't speak up for it enough. I thought it was brilliant. We got treat like kings for the
proper
night
ground.
Up in Northumberland.
It's a proper ground, Croft Park, full of history. Just a shame they're struggling at the moment. But don't let that put you off.
I thought Heaton were great as well. Well, brilliant that first half.
Amazing, and then sort of dropped the horses second half.
They did a bit, they did. Shout out to the manager, Heaton. He used to knock about with them. Dean Nicholson.
Yeah, I know him from me days at Seaham Red Star.
Yeah, did a good job. Did a good job there.
You've got an interesting.
He's come a long way from me and him stacking the shells in Morris. Killy lad, good shout. Right, so I think that's all we've got to say on that. Here is a word from the Geordie Journal's sponsors. Do like, comment, share, subscribe if you feel that way inclined. All the details are down below. And on the second half of this show, we'll be doing our Newcastle United best in class and worst in class. So stay tuned for that.
Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking, and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in. For 21 years, JLM Travel have been offering great deals on package holidays and cruises. Plus low deposits and free kids places are available. Branches at Maingate, Team Valley and Front Street Wickham.
Right, and we're back. That was the proud sponsors of all things Geordie Journos. We love having people, good companies on board as partners of the Geordie Journos. If you do want to become a partner of the Geordie Journos, there is quite a few people at the minute sort of inquiring, asking, wanting to be involved. We do have a price list that we'll talk about, so you just have to send an email to...
Sorry, I didn't read you there. I was on the geordiejournos@gmail.com.
Right, do get in touch. Right, best and worst in class, Newcastle United edition. Dom, take us away.
Right, I've got one player in mind, and I'm going to say another player, and you can tell me to shut up and change my mind, because I think it's one where people might be not happy in the comments. But I can only judge it by how much frustration and annoyance this player has caused me so far this season, even though we haven't seen him.
Oh.
And it's Yoane Wissa.
Ah, right, okay.
So I'm saying
a different
a
direction
£55 million deadline day signing. Look, it's no fault of his own. He's got injured, really. He's come in to fill that gap and almost get rid of any potential attacking problems Newcastle have had. And we just haven't seen him. And look, it's bad knee injury. He's out for at least a couple of months, it looks like, overall. And Newcastle are so fortunate, or Yoane Wissa is fortunate to a degree, that Nick Voltemade has come in and hit the ground running. Yeah. Without that, Newcastle, the problems that we saw in the opening 3 games are prolonged into the season, and we're maybe talking about a team who have barely scored a goal and are struggling on all fronts, whereas thankfully Nick Voltemade has done well, and even Willa Sula's come in and contributed a few goals as well. Yoane Wissa was the man to be the short-term replacement for Alexander Isak. So worst in class is harsh. It's more of a NA, but...
Nah, go for it. I like it actually. I think it's a good angle.
I think as the short-term successor to Alexander Isak, someone who scored 19 Premier League goals this season, as Jordan reminded me when they were role-playing, though, that we haven't scored any for Newcastle. So
no, not when I'm here, lads. They do love it out there. Like,
we've made,
I'm watching you going, yeah man, what you doing?
We've made a regular thing on the Friday press
People will
conference.
expect it at the next press conference.
It's a good way to get your point across and play devil's advocate. That's all I'd say.
It is.
But yeah, Yoane Wissa for me, look, no slight on the player himself. I really want to see him, but from that comes so much frustration, thinking what could have been if he maybe just was subbed at half-time against Senegal or didn't get that injury. And it's wishful thinking, it's hindsight, it's not the player's fault as such, but I think by the money Newcastle paid for him, which they overpaid anyway, to not get any sort of impact from him until November, and then they're going to potentially lose him in December anyway, I think that's a really frustrating signing so far.
We've seen Keith Downey on another YouTube channel suggesting that he might not even go to AFCON. That's kind of what he was hinting at on his video recently.
Been listening to Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, the point I made
message got through to Wissa there.
Please don't go to AFCON.
Yeah, that was clipped up on social media of the when I said Newcastle United should block Yoane Wissa from going to African Cup of Nations. I slightly retract on that and saying the player himself should consider not going to African Cup of Nations. I don't think Newcastle can actually stop him, much as I would still like them to. I don't think they can. But I do think Yoane Wissa, because they've invested so much money in him, and this is the biggest move of his career, should think, you know what, I should stay on Tyneside during the African Cup of Nations and make up for lost time.
People always they'll caveat and come at you and go, I know, but it's a huge tournament and he's
it is,
pride. Look, at the end of the day, I've said this a million times on this channel before, I do not care about anything else.
Well, people are using
Newcastle United.
England
and he won't, but he owes Newcastle United.
I think
he really does. And it's not his fault, he didn't choose to get injured. But I know I'm going to put myself in the same position and think, you know what, I risked my whole season. I risked my reputation with the football club I'd been at for 5 years and loved my time there because I knew this was my moment. This was the moment I had to take in my career at 29 to have a chance. I might never get the chance to play Champions League football in my whole career, and I've gone away, got myself injured, and I've actually missed out potentially on the biggest game of his life. Barcelona.
Yeah.
Might never play in a bigger game, like a bigger club game than that in your life, and he never got the chance to do that. He was in the crowd. I think he was in the box, wasn't he, that day? I seen it on his Instagram, so you got to watch it. But it was like me and you. He was like us, and that's not what he signed to Newcastle United for. No. So if that was me, I would be feeling like, right, there's the fixture list. They've got 6 left. I'm probably not going to get the first or second, but I'm telling you now, I'm playing in the next 4 by hook or by crook. And whether that means I go to Africa or I don't go to Africa, doesn't matter. That tournament, everyone says, oh no, but you're going to sound like Jamie Carragher downplaying it and stuff like that. I don't really care. It happens every 2 years. It does not have the same prestige as a World Cup or a Euros because it happens every 2 years.
Yeah.
It does not have the same prestige. Yes, it is an international tournament, but it is not the same as those other ones. Just isn't, because it happens more often. So your fact is, you'll go to 31.
Yeah.
If he really wants to.
Yeah.
Well, me and
he'll probably go to 33. It's not like they've got a big pool of players to pick from, is it? Christ. He'd probably still be going to 37 if he really wanted to.
Well,
so come on.
When me and Dom role played, I did make that point that after
Did
a
you?
couple of nations every 2 years, I was like, please stay. You can
But
go
people
there for a
try to
couple
give
of
it the
nations in
same
2 years.
legitimacy as a Euros. It is not the same.
No.
I mean,
European, no. So Europe,
but
it isn't
probably
even
means-
if it was every 4 years. It isn't the same.
No, because
and that's fact because the prestige of European football is higher. That doesn't mean I'm downplaying it. I think if I was from Congo, I would want to play for them. Of course I would. So should he, really. But I think he owes Newcastle United. Do you think that's going to get controversial? I think people not like that.
I think that's controversial.
I think he owes them. Yeah.
I think the African Cup of Nations will mean everything to the people of
Yes.
Congo.
And so it should.
Yeah.
I don't hold it as a football fan in the same prestige as a Euros or a World Cup. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but that's because we're not from that
But
continent.
neither does FIFA, which is why Europe get far more qualification spots than Africa.
Exactly.
So,
And you could make a huge case if it was a level playing field. Europe should get a lot more. There's good European sides don't end up there, and you get teams from all over. But that's the nature of a World Cup, of course.
yeah. The frustrating thing for Yoane Wissa is he could end up not playing a Champions League home game at St James's Park because of the nature of how
the way it
Newcastle's.
falls.
Yeah. The PSV game is touch and go if DR Congo get far in AFCON. So it's maybe passed him by, unless Newcastle, of course, as we all hope, get out of the group.
Am I going to have to try to do some kind of caveat on this, Dom? Because people will think, oh, he doesn't like Africa.
No, I think you...
Because it's happened before when we talk about stuff in the past. It's like that just doesn't come from any standpoint other than me looking at football.
No, I think that's a fair opinion.
Yeah. I think it's a fair opinion.
Am I the moral compass of...
You are.
Is that what you're
He's
trying
the
to
guide. He's the guide. Did you go for your best?
Oh no, I haven't said my best yet.
Best in class.
Oh, we're not going to go worst.
So should we do worst again?
And then
We'll
we'll-
continue on the theme of worst before we end on a positive.
Yeah. End on a positive. And
No, fair enough. Wherever you want.
So I've said my...
Probably should have done best first and kept worst to last. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go worst.
So I've said my worst.
Worst.
So my worst is the most frustrating player I've watched at Newcastle United for a long time, and that is Anthony Elanga. Quite infuriating to watch actually, because he's got ability, rapid pace. We've seen it in the Champions League games, particularly against Barcelona, and he's got sort of charging pace past the fullback, putting cross into the box, and he got a couple of assists that day. But I think the Champions League game away to Union SG, I think he made a positive impact, albeit I don't think it was great what everyone else was saying. But
I disagreed with your video the other week, your last video.
Right.
You said Union was Anthony Elanga's best game in a black and white shirt. I thought he was miles better against Barcelona.
Yeah.
I really did. I was really frustrated with him in the first half. I thought every second touch was a tackle in Union.
Yeah,
I genuinely did. I thought even the penalty was like a poor first touch. And he's done well because he's so rapid to get there.
Yeah, but I think probably by default because he made a couple of. He put the cross in for the goal, won the penalty. But I just don't think we've seen enough from him. From a player that Newcastle again have invested all the money in. We've just not, particularly in the Premier League games, we've not seen enough.
It's early days, but wow.
No, it is, and I think Eddie Howe was quite keen to point out that he's still learning the role. Except when I do think to play an Eddie Howe team, you do need time to learn the role, and some players pick it up quicker than others. But for a player that's just got so much pace and ability, I just think just hasn't shown enough and hasn't made enough contributions. So that's why he goes down as worst in class. I mean, it's quite a harsh saying worst in class, but that's what we're doing it on. But particularly in terms of frustration, I've been really frustrated by from watching Anthony Elanga.
Yeah, as far as performance summed him up so far, it was plenty of the ball, well involved. You couldn't say he had a quiet game by any means. It was just cross after cross, not finding the man or running out of play. It was a frustrating game for him, and I think that sticks in the mind during the international break, but it also sums up, bar the 2 Champions League games where I do think he played well in both games overall, in the Premier League, certainly domestically, he's been a frustrating.
I just think he needs to up his levels. If he's got those levels to up, I think he needs to up them.
I think he's shown signs.
So I'm going to agree with you. I can't pick anybody else because he was my choice before. Yeah. We haven't spoke about who our best and worst is, and Anthony Elanga was mine. I think for 55 million I expected a lot more. I expected immediate impact. Somebody who created a lot of goals and scored quite a few goals last season. Never got close really at Newcastle United. Doesn't look like a player of so far. And this is where it falls back. I think he will improve, and I think he'll have a better impact than he has so far because he'll learn the position. Yeah. But I'm yet to see any evidence of real quality, and that's my biggest concern. I think Jacob Murphy has already this season shown he's got more quality in his little toe.
Two
this
season,
like
literally, numbers game, he's played 2 assists, and he
get the
came
ball.
on the other day.
He makes mistakes. He's a bit weak at times. He knows the role, but he literally puts balls on plate for people all the time.
It was quite jarring against Forest when he came on, and within 10 minutes he put 2 brilliant balls in the box. He slipped through Harvey Barnes, and then he played another cross in, which I think Baltimore couldn't quite. Oh no, Malik Chow couldn't quite convert.
It was the Chow one. It was saved by Sells. It was a brilliant save. That was Jacob Murphy again. But if you're a centre forward, I think Baltimore, I'll probably be looking at this going, yeah, will you play him please? Because he's going to create me goals, whereas Elanga hasn't created anything for anybody yet. Again, caveated with the fact he probably should have if Harvey Barnes had finished.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon totally missed the ball. It was Harvey Barnes, but Anthony Gordon totally missed the ball against Barcelona.
That was the earlier one, yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're looking at, you've signed Anthony Elanga for an upgrade as Jacob Murphy, and has that been an obvious upgrade so far?
No,
probably not.
I don't think it has.
No.
I think it's got a time and a place. I think one thing that he's looked good. He was very involved against Aston Villa, who surprisingly played a very high line. He was very, very involved and looked really good against Barcelona. What was he doing? Running in behind a defensive plays a really high line. He's going to have value, and I'm certain he'll add value in Newcastle's team at key moments this season. I'm just not seeing it on a consistent basis. And I think for the money paid, considering I hadn't signed anybody in that position, I was expecting a bit more from that signing. Not necessarily the player. I don't know. I'm not a scout. I'm not a coach. But I was expecting more from a £55 million winger that was meant to upgrade on a bloke who's been here for nearly 10 years.
Yeah. What you would say is Anthony Elanga's still only 23. Do you look at him as a long-term upgrade as well? Because I think we've seen positive signs from Anthony Elanga. You go into the Champions League. I just think it is very early stages. So far, it's been frustrating. It's been underwhelming. But that sums up Newcastle's season as a whole.
I think his touch, his decision making, I think that's what I'm saying when I up levels. I think that's all within his capability. That needs to improve. And once those little bits improve, then you'll start to see a much
fine margin.
Yeah, it is. But I think even you go like that Forest game, you guys were working it. I was up in one of the boxes, and I just every time it went it was like game over.
End of attack.
It was like he's going to run into that defender, and it was like he did it again, or he's going to cross that ball and it's going to hit the fullback he's just trying to beat. It was every time.
Yeah, it was.
And that's really frustrating. So I think what we'll have to say is we've both picked him as worst in class so far. That probably is a context because it was the big upgrade signing of the summer, and it doesn't feel like an upgrade. And the odd flash of pace isn't enough for me. I was expecting more.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Best in class. Anybody, like, actually, if you agree, you disagree, whatever, jump in the comments. You might think we're talking absolute rubbish. That's absolutely fine. It's a game of opinions, and we do often talk rubbish, but you seem to like it, so
yeah.
Dom, I'll come back to you. Best in class.
Right. I was picking someone different for every best in class, or
well, we don't know who's. You don't know what I'm going to say.
I know that's a thing, but I think I know who one of you is going to say.
So what did we say? Worst in class. Yours was a reluctant Wissa, and ours was a reluctant Elanga.
Yes.
All 50 million plus signings for Newcastle United.
Yeah.
Best in class this season.
I think Newcastle's best player and someone who has been borderline world class this season, and basically what arguably Newcastle's most consistent performer has been Sandro Tonali. In the heart of that midfield, I think he sets the tone. If Sandro Tonali plays well, Newcastle play well, and more often than not this season he's been one of, if not the best player on the pitch for Newcastle United. I thought he was the best player on the pitch on Sunday against Nottingham Forest. I thought he was the best player on the pitch in the Champions League. He wasn't as great against Arsenal, and Newcastle lost that game. And then
I think he was great against Barcelona.
do you not?
No, I thought he was chasing shadows.
Oh, the midfield sort
The
of.
midfield was brilliant.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think
They'll do that to better. They'll do that to plenty of midfielders. Like.
Yeah, I think Sandro Tonali is sort of almost put himself as Newcastle's, like, almost, if losing Alexander Isak was like almost your poster boy world class player, I think Sandro Tonali's now filled that role.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think it's not who I'm going to pick as mine, but I do agree that it's hard not to look at Sandro Tonali. He almost does the work of three men in there. Like, he's literally Bruno's legs. He allows him to be a much better footballer for the team. He just hoovers up space. He sniffs danger. And he's got quality as well. Sometimes I want to see that. I know how much quality he's got. You want to see him hit shots. It's not particularly his role, but he looks like he's got a great strike in him and he can score the odd goal. So you want to see a little bit more of that.
It was on the weekend as well when we missed off our video. I spoke about Sandro Tonali. He had a shot in the first half. I sort of went past the post and that volley.
Yeah. The tight angle,
cross-field ball and he volleys it.
Yeah.
So unlucky.
He's a quality.
I just think in terms of, I don't watch every midfield in the world, but in terms of the midfielders I've watched, in terms of endurance and being able to get about the pitch, he is up there.
Yeah. I'd say if you look at like defensive midfielders, and that's what he's playing as, I'd say what I've seen this season, I watch a fair bit of football just on the telly like this season. Say Caicedo's possibly the only one for me.
Yeah.
I like that Zubimendi, but I don't think he's Tonali like. Trying to think, is there anybody else in the Premier League?
Rice.
I feel like I'm missing somebody. Rice is not a defensive midfielder.
Rice
is great, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just was shoehorned into a defensive midfielder for years when he never looked like one.
I think Rice is the best midfielder in the league, by the way.
He's up and down. I think he's brilliant.
He's class against Newcastle every time.
He's a class. He's like, you just listened to him last night. Obviously, captain England, didn't you? Listen to him last night. He's a great talk guy. He's captain material. He's the type of footballer any manager would want at their football club. He's outstanding. But no, defensive midfielder. I feel like I'm missing someone out here. I'm going to look dafty.
Rodri.
Everyone says Gravenberch, but Gravenberch isn't a defensive midfielder.
Not this season, he's not.
Well, I think he's having to play there a bit, but he's not a defensive midfielder by nature. He's probably wants to play where Rice does, where he gets up and down. So I think pure defensive, and that's what Tonali's been playing. I think him and Caicedo stand above everybody. I don't think there's anybody else. So I really rate it. Who's yours? So that's not mine, by the way.
So I was going to go with Sandro Tonali, but for the purpose.
No, you don't have to.
Right. So Sandro Tonali is mine, but I want to give an honourable mention to someone who I think's came in just been simply outstanding. That's Malik Thiaw.
Good show.
When Fabian Schär dropped out of the team, Malik Thiaw straight in hadn't started a game before that. In the partnership he's built with Sven Botman, it's a proper centre-back partnership.
You'll get arrested for that opinion.
That's the ambulance. The way those two link up, the ability to play out from the back, Malik Thiaw just looks like he has a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Good size, as Graham Jones would say. Good size, Jason. Good size. Good in the air as well. Really good in the air. Looks like he's got a turn of pace. So yeah, I just think he's been excellent. So that's my honourable mention.
I think there's more to come from him as well.
Yeah.
I can't understand it. I mean, this is why it's such a small sample size at the moment. I don't understand how a country like Germany, who are struggling, cannot pick him. Is there something that we are not seeing yet? Is there a part of his game where it's like it's going to suddenly hit one like a ton of bricks? Like, oh, that's why.
He has been capped by Germany before. But he's not been a regular. I just wonder, I think the next international break he's not being called up. If he continues this form,
you're looking at him going, well, I've not seen it.
But there is, we were talking off camera about like it's like adapting the leagues, isn't it? And certain leagues suit you, and I think because Malik Thiaw constantly has to be switched on, it's almost like better for him, whereas in the Italian league it's a bit
they talked about, I think AC Milan fans used to talk about how he cost a lot of goals at times, and we were talking about again off, like you said, off camera, is it that you have to be switched on and off so frequently because of the slower nature of Italian football, whereas in the Premier League he's having to literally be on all the time. And I've always said he looks like a player who might have a little bit of rashness in him at some point, like right on the edge, but look, I think his game looks like it's perfectly suited, and I hope he continues to go along in that nature, because he dovetails really well with Sven Botman, who's a silkier player. Then Thiaw's a bit more blunt, whereas Botman's just got that sort of
physical grace.
He's got grace. He glides around as well as being a good physical profile, whereas Thiaw doesn't glide around. He's a bit more he's a bit more leggy and a bit more
I said
awkward, but he's brilliant.
I said I think he's got a similar run style to Jamal Lascelles. I said that
you
during the game.
You did, yeah. He's like a
almost
lean Lascelles, isn't he?
He's almost like a better Lascelles, which I love Jamal Lascelles, as people know.
Yeah.
But he's been caught.
Yeah. So now
long may continue.
Sven Botman also uncapped. I know Malik Chow's been capped, but Sven Botman, if he continues his form and stays fit, he'll be pushing for that Netherlands World Cup squad, you'd like to think.
They're stacked, like. He's in a position where they've actually already got like a settled five.
That's the problem, isn't it?
So he might struggle. I imagine the manager will want to take a look at him if he's like consistently being one of the best defenders in the Premier League. He'll take a look at him. Yeah. He's been unlucky. He would have been capped by now, but for injuries. But yeah, I don't know. The two of them beat.
I think he deserves a shout out if we're talking about best. If in the same sort of sentences, Malik Chow. If Malik Chow's having a great season, which I agree with Jordan, he is. Sven Botman is a big reason for that as well, and has been covering for Dan Burn as well since he's moved out left back.
Yeah.
Dan Burn's also had a good season until he moved out left back.
Yeah. He had. Him and Cher were excellent. Nick Pope's had a good season on paper.
I think Nick Pope's had a good year, apart from that Arsenal last minute.
He had a good year, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Although he's not the answer. I think we all know that, but he's had a great year. You can't fault the bloke.
Yeah, he's how many clean sheets? 6
in 10.
6 in 10. I mean, it's good.
Is he 6 in? He's done 9 games.
6 in 9.
So he's had 6 in 9 because Ramsdale was 1 game and conceded. Unluckily, by the way. Yeah. Great strike. Shouldn't have been allowed. Handball. Should have took that.
Don't take that. You're taking away from Andy.
Should have took it off the lad.
Oh, it's childhood dream, and you're taking away from.
I only care about Newcastle United.
No, you do, I know. You do.
Nah, I don't. I wouldn't take that off. It was a nice moment. I really did. I think it was his missus was on social media.
Yeah, the weekend and stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice moment, but we're not a charity, so should have been taken off him. So just left, isn't it, for best in class? Nick Voldemort is my best in class. I cannot disagree with anything you guys have said on Sandro Tonali. However, I think Sandro Tonali my justification for not picking Sandro Tonali and picking Nick Voldemort is Sandro Tonali could be playing at 110% and the team still wouldn't really be scoring goals. And I think what the team needed was a goal scorer, and what they got was a man who is capable of doing that. A surprise package. Everyone goes, no, but he's the record signing, 69 million. What do you expect? Look, it doesn't work like that. The reasons I give for Elanga being a disappointment is because there is a continuity there. He's already proven in the Premier League, can play in the Premier League, knows exactly what he's doing, he's been every single ground, knows a lot of the players already. Like, Voldemort had none of that, had no taste of English football, was heavily criticised in Germany non-stop, constantly. Not only for his performances for the national team, but because he didn't move to Bayern Munich.
We're not going to attack any blokes out of this time. Some more blokes are not going.
No. Anyway, so like honestly, the amount of weight that guy's had to carry on his shoulders. Knew he was the man to replace the man. I think he's taken it on brilliantly. He's been given scraps, and he's served up Michelin-starred food. Honestly, outstanding. That penalty was just.
Don't mention it.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought he put it out. I did. When he hit it, I thought, oh.
It's your angle.
It must have been. Then the roof of the net went. Oh, what a relief. But just everything. Look, it's not even about the goals, and it's not even about the lack of chances and how clinical he's been, and it's everything else about his game. Like, even if he wasn't scoring goals, you couldn't not look at him and go, he's a good player, him. Yeah. It's just, can we get him work right? The fact is they've got a good player and it's working.
Yeah.
And I think that's only going to get better and better, and it's only going to be enhanced by the fact when Wissa comes back, fingers crossed, when Wissa comes back. I do want to mention that as well, actually. So that Nick Voldemort was my stand-up, because I think he's an outstanding player, and like I say, when they needed a man to come and do the job, he's been the one to do the job.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to mention like the social media madness this week. I actually dipped in and wrote your column yesterday for Newcastle World, the newsletter that we did.
Who was the?
No, I changed it. I didn't leave it as I left it as Cronin's Corner. Right. That's what it is.
Did you?
So original, Cronin's Corner. But I changed it underneath. I said, in the absence of Jordan. I said to me writing the column, so it was me this time, not stitching you up. I had a little go about social media, And it's one of these things I've said regularly on this show is be careful who you trust. Because social media just grows arms and legs on lines and stories that just have no basis. And we've got to remember, particularly X, and this applies. And there might be people on here who don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to be quite specific with it. What you have is, it's engagement farming. And what people are looking for is a lot of these accounts, when they see something does well on one account, and they'll go, wow, that's just built up a lot of interactions, they'll just copy it. Whether it's true, whether they've checked it, whether it's whatever, they'll just copy it and use it again because they know it's going to make them money. That's all Twitter is, a money-making exercise. Not for us. We don't make money off Twitter. You don't, do you? No. You don't? Neither do I. You can say with hand on heart, none of us make money off Twitter. Do we like engagement? Yes. That's what we're on there for. We like to give break news, give information, and have interactions as well, but we don't make any money off it. There are a lot of channels and a lot of out there who make money off it. So when the slightest thing they see doing well elsewhere, it's like a trends thing. Ooh, wow, they're talking about that. You'll see 6 or 7 talk about it. And then what you're seeing in your algorithm is 6 or 7 accounts saying exactly the same thing, which naturally makes you think, ooh, that must be true, or there must be some truth in it. That's not how it works on Twitter, or X, as it's now called. It's purely people seeing something else doing well and using it to make their own money. It doesn't legitimise it, the fact that more people are saying it. Always be careful who you trust, because unless one of the big hitters or the proper professional journalists who are trained in colleges and universities up and down the country who've got their certificates are saying something because they've checked it out with real sources, don't always trust it. Doesn't mean everything's wrong, by the way. Some of the best and most interesting stories have broke from normal man off the street sometimes, and then it gets checked out as right. So doesn't mean don't believe everything, but just be careful who you trust on these things, because that Yoane Wissa thing was mental.
Yeah. Do you see that stuff this week with Joe Willock getting stuck in York Maze?
That was funny.
He's the king though, isn't he, Big Frank?
He is a king. Like.
I was thinking of it when you were saying that, but that's the too far.
Well, that's
the ghost. The ghost of the brand.
It's spooky, isn't it? Ooh, we're thinking about doing a Halloween special.
No, we were laughing. Harvey Barnes, John Barnes.
Oh, that was class, man. That was class of the Champions League goal. People were like,
people believe it.
True fact.
But you're talking about people believing stuff. There is people that believe this. There was millions of people believe that Joe Willock was stuck in York Maze.
I saw it
like 4 million views.
Did they really think that?
There's been.
Well, he only did it because his car ran out of petrol, didn't he? Somebody had to give him a can, didn't he? He was filling it up.
Yeah. But Sean Longstaff went travelling a couple of years ago. Matt Target got left in South Korea.
Hey, Sean Longstaff going travelling made its way to the Champions League press conference.
It did, yeah.
Asked by myself.
You asked, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's brought off.
There's a joke, obviously. Yeah. You weren't conned.
No, I was just saying, can you apply some truth to this report?
That's a light-hearted stuff, which I think is quite funny.
Because that goes the other way, because it is quite clearly.
Spreading news about someone having an ACL injury and be out for the season is wrong. It's not right.
But people only started doing it because it then became somebody heard a little rumour of somebody who heard a rumour who'd heard a rumour. And then it's like, they're all going, I've heard a rumour, and I've heard a rumour. Yes, you have, because we've all now heard it. And it doesn't make it true, though.
Because they can put it out with no sort of repercussions, where if we put out and using it was wrong, that would be damaging for our reputation.
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting, sorry to call you out here, it'd be really interesting if one of you guys at the next press conference could almost go beyond that and ask Eddie Howe for some detail. Because then that really would, if it doesn't get asked before you, be like, literally, there has been rumours going about. Can you dispel these rumours? We're not asking you to give a date or give anything like that, but can you dispel those rumours? Or can you give a bit more detail so there's a bit of flesh on the bones? Otherwise, people just make up, when there's gaps, people make up the difference.
Yeah. But in the same token, does that not give some form of legitimacy to the rumours by bringing it up in a press conference?
So maybe don't do that. Maybe could you? Well, this is us thrashing something out. Maybe could you not ask for more detail on the injury?
Yeah.
Then that gives you proper flesh on the bones.
Yeah.
Anyway, you might see this at the next press conference.
Yeah.
Depends on what happens between now and then, of course.
I always love that in the video with the Kennedy rant.
Was that a rant? Do you think?
That was your Kennedy rant.
I wrote your column on it.
Yeah.
Saying, like, literally, I've said it a million times, but be careful who you trust. Because it's so easy in social media that fiction becomes fact so quickly that then there's people walking around. I've had it. You'll get bumped into in a pub somewhere and someone will say something to you as if it's fact. It's like, I know what you're saying is not fact. Like, I know where you've got it from. Just it is what it is. People are so it's insatiable, the one for information. on Newcastle United, and that's a good thing. But believing everything you see and read from non-legitimate sources can be quite dangerous, and it ends up building narratives about players, building narratives about situations that just aren't true. So yeah, I would say trust the trusted, and always take everything else with a pinch of salt, although don't ever rule it out, because like I say, some of the best and most brilliant stories have been broken by just anybody on the streets. It doesn't take knowing somebody or knowing sources to find a story. Sometimes it falls in your lap, or you know somebody who knows somebody and it's true. But I think the ACL stuff was a long time ago we had that ruled out, and all of a sudden it's become a thing.
It was the first time he got injured, so he's done his ACL,
and it was confirmed he hadn't.
Fingers crossed. Not joking.
I didn't add to that, don't be saying
more detail, Eddie.
He has done his ACL.
Well, look, at the end of the day, if it turns out we get more detail on that thing, well, all that was redundant. All that was right, but it's not the information as it stands at the moment. Right, I think that's about it.
Bumper edition, this
is huge. This is a big edit.
Bumper. No.
Sorry. He's on his day off. His week off, and he's editing videos for you guys out there. Right, so do like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll have to get this video up. This will be Saturday morning, recording on Friday afternoon. So if there's anything major breaks, you might turn this on and think, well, what the hell are they talking about that for? But that's because it would have happened in the time that it's been edited and it's going up. It'll be going up 9 a.m. in the morning. So when you're watching this, it'll be Saturday at some point or Sunday. So I hope you're enjoying your weekend as much as we're enjoying our Friday. And like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content. And we will see you next week.